Welcome back to The Lawyer You Know, and on this episode, we're going to revisit the housewife and the hustler, Erika Jane and Tom Girardi, that crazy story about all the fraudulent behavior of her husband, who is a personal injury lawyer who stole money from his clients who were victims in sometimes horrible, fatal accidents with huge multi-million dollar settlements, and he kept all the money for their lavish lifestyle. Well, in the news, we've heard that Erika Jane may be implicated in some of this. She may have to pay some of this. She may have her financial records dug into by some of those victims and some of the former clients of Tom Girardi. So today we're going to do a video. We're going to answer the questions that you had on our first video. There's about 8 or 10 of those. We're going to start the video answering those questions, and then at the end, I'm going to give some updates of some new facts that have come out since the documentary and see how that affects what might happen down the road. So to jump right into the questions, the first one we have is, my question is this: before the Girardis filed for divorce, the victims had already had lawsuits against Tom Girardi. Erika and Tom were still married. Doesn't that mean she shares the burden of paying restitution as well as Tom? Ignorance should not come into play. Now, that's an opinion, not a legal conclusion. Just because they are married, the short answer to this question is no. Just because they're married does not mean Erika Jane will be held responsible for Tom Girardi's bad acts. But, as a couple of the other questions asked, and we're kind of combining a lot of these questions as to will Erika Jane have to pay? We're combining those into one question right here because that answer sounds like it's going to be yes. The judge has ruled that Erika Jane may be liable to at least 3 of the victims of Tom Girardi and 3 of the former clients of Tom Girardi. The reason for that is there seems to be some proof from the bankruptcy trustee that shows at least $20 million being funneled from Tom Girardi's account to Erika Jane's businesses. Her pop star businesses, her brands, things like that. $20 million of his clients' money transferred over to Erika Jane. And because of that, and if that's true and if that's proven, she will be held liable and she will be collectible up to the amount of the client's money they can prove went to her from Tom Girardi. Question number 2. How did Tom get away with his fraudulent scam for so long in the legal system, and how many judges, politicians, and other attorneys did he have to pay off to get away with this for so long? That's my question. Why can't the judges, politicians, and other attorneys be sued for contempt now that they were paid off by him? Well, the first and quick answer to this is there hasn't been any proof that he paid any of these other people off, politicians, judges, other lawyers. Just because you donate to somebody's campaign doesn't mean necessarily you're paying them off for favors, but I get your sentiment. And the answer is if they can connect the dots with the money trail, if they can show Tom Girardi did pay these people off to turn a blind eye or help him in this scheme to defraud his clients, they will be held liable, and they can be held liable legally. So as long as you can connect those money dots and prove this, they can be held liable. Now, will they be able to? Probably not. How was he able to do this for so long? Because when you're that rich and powerful, it's not just that you're paying people off. People are also scared to stand up against you, which is a bit funny because that is what plaintiffs' personal injury lawyers do. Tom Girardi was supposed to be a guy that stood up to the rich and powerful, stood up to the big companies, and now he's become the man, as they said in the documentary. But we do that all the time. We stand up to these multi-billion-dollar corporations with the small guy, the victim. We stand up and we fight against them. That's what we do, and that's what he was supposed to be doing for his clients. Question number 3. Despite being about Erika and Tom, this was such an informative video in understanding how personal injury lawyers and settlements go. I had no idea so many people have a say in money that you will be entitled to. I think if you are young, I can see someone looking over your affairs, but that should be the client's decision on who they entrust with that. And if you are older, why does someone, especially a stranger, have the right to have so much control over your settlement? You should be able to pay them for their services and choose who or how you want your money handled. I mean, look now at these victims. It's disgusting. So, you hire a lawyer to help you with a big part of this process. If you're an adult, most of the time a lump sum check just does come to you unless you want help investing it. And there are other people, financial planners, structured settlement companies that help you invest that money. Usually not your plaintiff's personal injury lawyer that has just won this case and given you this chunk of money. Usually we don't like to be involved in that because we don't want to be in all different sides of this transaction. Just the appearance of impropriety is something we don't want anything to do with. Now, so usually you can ask people to help, just like we have financial planners. We have people that look out for our money, invest our money. That's how Ponzi schemes have happened in the past with Bernie Madoff. So adults have people help with their money all the time. That's no different when you get a huge chunk of money. And a lot of times it's people that have never had money like this before. So they're smart enough to know they need help investing it, right? The only time it's forced by the court in most instances is if somebody is a minor, or if they're incapacitated or have some mental deficiency that they're not able to make their own financial decisions. That's really the only time the law forces some kind of guardian ad litem or somebody overseeing what happens with this money. And sometimes that person is even the court and the judge that has to approve some of these settlements. Next question. Should the bar be responsible for some of this? The bar is not usually ever responsible for anything. They're a governing body to discipline lawyers. They put forth the rules and they have the authority to discipline these lawyers, right? That is what their authority is. They are usually not going to be held liable in situations like this because they may not have known this was going on, or if they did do their due diligence and didn't find it, they usually can have some kind of excusable neglect that they couldn't have done anything to really help the situation. I don't know if I agree with that, and it sounds like some of you don't. The bar should have stepped in. The bar should have seen what was happening here with all of the complaints that seem to have been made about Tom Girardi, and they didn't do anything. Now, they've come forward and say, we're going to hunker down on this, we're going to crack down on this, we're going to try to stop this, and they shut Tom Girardi down now. But was it too late? Next question. Do you agree that this will be years and years before it is settled? I mean, the good money's on that because most of these lawsuits take years and years. I don't know how they're going to push it any faster. Erika Jane has a lot of money to try to fight this and make the process go slower. But we'll see what happens. I do think it's going to be some time before this is settled, and especially before it's paid out. Next question. Did Erika Jane work at the law firm? The answer to that is no. There are no records or any proof to show she had any employment or any work done at the law firm, which I don't know if this is why this person was asking, but that could be a reason for her to say, they gave me this money because I was out there helping promote the law firm. I worked for the law firm. I was advertising for the law firm. I made this money legally. You're not going to take the money from all the employees of the law firm. They're not going to go to the paralegals and the front desk people and the secretaries and the law clerks and take all their money because Tom Girardi stole that money. That's not why they're trying to do this with Erika Jane. They're trying to do it because Tom Girardi stole the money and funneled it through her businesses. That's the reason she's kind of connected to paying these clients, is because she benefited off of and maybe even knew about his scheme to defraud his clients. They did drop her, but now have taken her back. Why? I think this is in reference to her lawyers. So it seems like her lawyers filed motions to withdraw. They want to get off the case. Then they filed more motions saying they want to stay on the case. But just recently, Erika Jane has announced she has a new lawyer. So it seems those old lawyers that wanted off, then back on, are actually gone, and she now has a new lawyer. Who the heck knows? My guess is she's going to go through a couple lawyers before this thing is over, especially if it lasts years and years, because as soon as anything bad happens, a lot of times celebrities like this will fire their lawyer and get a new one. You see it in sports. When something bad happens or they don't get the deal they want or trade they want, a player will fire their agent and hire another one. So don't be surprised if there are a few lawyers representing Erika Jane throughout this process. All right, and the last question we're going to answer again is a bunch of questions kind of compiled into one. Will Joe and the other victims get their money? Because it seems like there's no money left. The answer to that, I hope, is yes. And I actually think the answer will be yes. I think there will be enough from Girardi's estate, plus what they can get from Erika Jane, hopefully, and maybe some other insurance policies here and there, malpractice insurance from the firm that's gone bankrupt now, getting in line, because it's not just like all the money's gone, they're bankrupt, it's zero. He still has assets worth millions and millions of dollars. So I'm hoping that these clients, like Joe, can at least get some of the money that's owed to them. Will they get all of the money? It seems like that's unlikely, especially because Erika Jane is going to be paying lawyers and legal fees and court costs throughout this process. So that money is going to be continuously depleted throughout the process when it should go to Joe and the other victims that were clients of Tom Girardi. So now let's jump into just kind of some new facts that we've found out and things that we've seen that have come out after the documentary. We've already talked about the lawyer situation and what's going on with that. The other important one is the judge ruled after and over Erika Jane's objections that they will be able to go through all of her financial documents to see what money was given to her that Tom Girardi stole from these clients and victims. And according to a lot of the news articles, Erika Jane has to provide that documentation and that financial information by the end of July of this year. So a lot of facts have come out with Joe and some of the other victims continuously trying to move litigation forward on suing Erika Jane and trying to get some of her money because it's obvious she still has a lot. She's still on The Real Housewives. She's still making a lot of money off of her fame and fortune, and she's still making a lot of money off the backs of these clients because whether or not she knew or this money was funneled directly from Girardi stealing it to her, she is benefiting from all the money he stole. So these clients are coming out and suing her. She's filing motions to dismiss. She's trying to get rid of it. She's trying to block them to look into her financial information, which, just so you know, side note, you can't just look into people's finances. If I sue you, I can't just get all your bank accounts. I can't get how much you paid for your houses and your cars and everything you own. I can't know how much money you have. There has to be specific circumstances, and the judge has to rule to allow me to look into your finances as a personal injury lawyer. Well, it seems like we're getting there on Erika Jane. Not only does she have to turn over those documents, I think it's July 21st by 5 p.m., but the judge and the clients are allowing these cases to continue to go forward against Erika Jane for them to continue to try to collect this money. Some have said that it's been proven this $20 million was funneled into her companies, and she will have to pay the $11 million owed to Joe. We'll see if that's actually what happens. I hope these clients get their money one way or the other, whether it's from Erika Jane, Tom Girardi, insurance, estates, selling of their houses, whatever it might be. I hope they get that money. And lastly, we had a lot of discussion about whether or not Tom Girardi was actually suffering from Alzheimer's. Some of the lawyers in the documentary said, I was just with him, he seemed fine. Well, leave it to Bravo to play a never-before-seen clip of another housewife and her husband discussing just what they thought about Tom Girardi's mental state. Let's listen to it.
He's a young 81.
100%.
He's super sharp, savvy.
His mind is 100% there.
Yeah.
He's in good shape. He's a great human being. I've met him a few times, and every time I loved him.
We don't know what happened, and maybe she'll tell us, maybe she won't, but, I don't know. When you look at Tom and you think, okay, he's older, but he's smart, he's successful.
Now, I don't know a lot of the context around that, but it seems like they all thought he was perfectly fine, a super smart. Yeah, he's old, but he doesn't seem old. He's super with it, super smart, super successful, super sharp. He knows what's going on. I don't know if they knew it was going to come back to bite him. I don't know what they all feel about Tom. They all seem like they like him fine. They all seem like they thought he was a nice guy. I mean, it doesn't seem like they maybe are doing this to snake him, but that's definitely what it's going to look like. And I'm wondering if anyone's going to challenge his legal incompetence. Now, it's really hard to overcome that because once one doctor says you have Alzheimer's, it's really hard to come above it, especially if you don't want to change that diagnosis as the patient. If he's really smart and sharp, he's smart and sharp enough to act like he's got Alzheimer's, to act like he's not with it, to act like he's mentally deficient. So it's going to be really hard to overturn that, but we'll see if that's an argument that continues because it seems to be a topic of conversation on the reality TV show surrounding this housewife. So those are some of the updated facts. Let me know if you guys have more questions. If you want me to continue to follow this story, I'm happy to. It's really interesting to me and hits close to home as a personal injury lawyer. I take my duties seriously to all the clients and victims that I represent. So this really hits close to home that he would do things like this, and it is utterly despicable that he would try to steal these clients' money in one of the highest moments of need in their lives. So leave a comment below, leave questions below if you have more. Thanks for watching. We'll be with you next time. Thanks for watching this episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you like this content, please share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to our page and like our videos. If you want some interaction, get in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you. If you want to know any more information about our firm or this page, you can find out in the description or visit tragoslaw.com. We post multiple times throughout the week, so make sure you hit that bell so you can get the notification and not miss out on the next episode.